Hello and welcome to this Red Gaming Tech video of myself and Marta, where as always I'm here with the latest from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. So what do I have for you today, my friends? Well, we're going to kick things off with some more news regarding Polaris. Now, you have undoubtedly heard the rumblings that we are going to be seeing yet another Polaris refresh come out into the market, this time with a 12nm Polaris GPU. Now, of course, this is going to be Polaris 30 according to the reports that we have seen fairly recently. And we have a report today from fudzilla.com which basically says that not only are we going to be seeing this 12nm Polaris in November of this year, we are going to be seeing an improvement of 10 to 15% thanks to higher clocks. Now, unfortunately, the sources for their information of the release date were, unsurprisingly, wanting to remain anonymous. However, these do line up with our previous reports from Chip Hell and PC Online. So the fact that it lines up with previous rumours kind of lends credence to each one, but of course, as always with anything not from the company themselves, we should take it with a healthy pinch of salt. And unsurprisingly as well, the sources are claiming that we're going to be seeing a 680, 670, 660, that sort of thing, naming convention. Hardly surprising given that the last refresh that we saw for Polaris was of course the 580 and so on. So I would fully expect to get a full reveal from AMD before too long if the release window of November is indeed correct. We would probably expect to get pricing and so on and so forth at least a couple of weeks, if not longer, beforehand. So regardless of the semantics of when they're going to do it, it's going to be before too long, given that it is somehow already mid-October. Lord knows how it is, but it is. So how much of an upgrade these actually are and whether or not it's actually going to be worth it for your personal situation, perhaps if you already have a 480 just for example, unfortunately we have to wait and see, should I say. But we do have some more AMD news before we move on to something from Intel, and this is actually regarding Ryzen. Now, of course, the i9-9900K and the rest of the 9th generation is going to be upon us very, very soon, with the 9900K releasing on October the 19th. So it's no surprise that AMD are trying to get ahead of them a little bit here by reducing the price of the Ryzen 7 2700X. And this is especially important given that the price tag of the 9900K especially has been a subject of a little bit of, I suppose controversy is a bit strong, but definitely a topic of much discussion, as it is a touch high to say the least, as we have seen pre-orders for about $530 on Amazon for the 9900K. So what we are seeing here, as I already said, is a reduction for the 2700X, which is obviously going to be directly competing against the flagship CPU from Intel. And the 2700X is now available for $290 on Amazon at the time of recording. So yeah, AMD are getting pretty damn aggressive here with this, saying, hey look, you know, you can get some pretty nice performance for a much, much lower price tag. And of course, as the rest of the Ryzen Zen Plus, I suppose you could say, lineup as well, which are obviously going to be cheaper and so on and so forth. Obviously, they're not going to be as powerful as the flagship 2700X, but you know, you're also talking a reduction of price as well. So AMD are not wasting any time and definitely taking advantage of the whole thing with Principled Technologies, and that actually leads into a very nice segue, if I do say so myself, into our next topic regarding the 9900K. So you probably don't need me to explain to you the whole situation with Principled Technologies and the 9900K because, yeah, it's been a bit controversial to say the least, as we saw some results come out for the 9900K, excuse me, and they were fairly misleading, as the AMD chip they did test had half of its cores effectively disabled, and we didn't have a very optimal memory configuration at all, and some very loose timings as a result of that. However, we have now revised benchmarks from Principled Technologies. What we have here is new benchmarks from them with the 2700X run in the default creator mode that has enabled all 8 cores. Unfortunately, we don't see a correction of the suboptimal memory setup, so we do still see the loose timings that we saw previously. However, we are still seeing an improvement in the results thanks to the changes they have made to their testing methodology. So what we see here is differences between the 9900K and 2700X be roughly around 12% on average. And you may recall that previously on their prior tests we saw an average of just under 40% difference in some games, which is kind of crazy. So you can just see how much of an impact those missing cores actually made. But the TLDR of what they have found with their new testing is that the 2900K, is roughly 12% faster than the 2700X. But as I've already discussed in my previous topic, it is significantly more expensive. And if they were to do further tests with the memory timings tightened up, we could probably see that gap between the two processors close even further. Now, we do have a bit of a statement here from Intel themselves regarding these new tests, and they say, quote, "Given the feedback from the tech community, we are pleased that Principal Technologies ran additional tests. They've now published these results along with even more detail on the configurations used and the rationale. The results continue to show that the 9th Gen Intel Core 9900K is the world's best gaming processor. We are thankful to Principal Technologies' time and transparency throughout the process." So, yeah, personally on this one, I would wait for the 9900K to be really properly pitted against the 2700X so that we can really see what the differences are across gaming and, of course, synthetic benchmarks as well, and things like encoding and so on and so forth, perhaps for those of you who are considering it for your professional rig. So it's just interesting to show the impact that those mistakes with their original testing actually made, and I would really like to see them do it again with improved memory timing so that we can further see what difference that would make. But alas, for the moment at least, this is the most that we do have from them. So we're going to finish things up today with a brief visit to Console Town, as we have an unfortunate exploit that is occurring on the PS4. And what we have here is a series of threads on the PS4 Reddit subreddit, and several people are reporting that they are receiving a message through the private messaging system on the console that is actually hard locking the console. So essentially what happens is you receive the message, your controller fails, and your console, if reset, basically goes in an error loop. Unfortunately, we don't really know the exact cause or how this is exactly being done exactly. But all we do know is that a message appears, it will probably appear garbled or maybe as a question mark as one user claimed, and then again it will go into this loop if you try to reset after it actually locks up the console. People are saying that a factory reset will do the job of fixing it, but others are saying that the only way to get rid of the problem is to log into your account on your phone or on your browser and deleting the message. So it does seem that whatever is in this message, which apparently can't even be displayed correctly as already said, is causing the console to lock up. By deleting it, I suppose it would make sense that it would fix the issue. So I'd perhaps try that if you are being affected by this before attempting a factory reset. Of course, if you can, or if you have, should I say, already set your privacy settings to the fact that only friends can message you, then this probably won't happen to you. If you haven't done that, I would recommend you do so, just so that you can't actually be targeted, because obviously this is coming from a random person that these people do not know. So if you have your settings to friends only or no one on your messaging settings, then obviously you cannot be targeted by this. But if you are unfortunately a victim of it, I will include a link to the one of the PS4 Reddit threads in the description below this video, where the people there are discussing numerous fixes and so on and so forth. But the two most reliable are the ones that I have already discussed here today. So hopefully whatever exploit is being exploited here will be fixed soon, but for now this is just kind of a FYI, so that if it does happen you are aware of what to do. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.